Alright, people have asked to see, hey look, it's me. Hello me. Anyway, people have asked to see what's on my bookshelf before. I think I vlogged in front of it once, and people tried to like pick out what all was on there. So I thought I would give you a tour of it. So up top we have weapons, of course, which is what's on top. I'm sure that's what everybody puts at the top of their bookshelf. This is from Alaska. I've never been to Alaska, but my parents went and they brought that back. I made this. I'm very proud of it. It's like the most shapely, one of the most shapely pots I've ever made. It's quite good. Over here, some less shapely pots. We won't look at them quite as much. And then this is the knife from season 3 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is Faith's knife that Buffy stabs her with, and is also just an awesome knife. This is the animal shelf, so of course, naturally, you have weapons and then animals, like everybody's bookshelf. I think... Oh yeah, I made this one. Yeah, one of these things is not like the other, so the one that's kind of lumpy and weird looking is the one I made. Everything else are things that I've bought, usually on vacations and such. This thing my great aunt made for me. I'm not like a big owl fan or anything, but I kept it because it was kind of cool that she made that. Okay, and then moving on to actual books, we've got, in alphabetical order by author's last name, the Everworld series, which I don't think as many people have heard of this, but it's what the author of Animorphs wrote after she finished Animorphs, or I guess like after she stopped working on Animorphs and it was written by a ghostwriter. She started doing this and it got canceled before it really reached a good conclusion, so she kind of finished it with kind of like a rushed conclusion, but it was really cool. It's a really cool series. It's like skewed older than Animorphs, so I was like right at the age to be reading those when they came out. It was pretty cool. Then we've got my official favorite book ever, Ender's Game, and the whole series of Ender books, and Ender's Shadow. I actually might like Ender's Shadow a little bit more. This is the Shadow series that follows Bean. Highly recommend those if you haven't read them. And then I kind of had this phase where I was like, because the thing with bookshelves is that nobody buys physical books anymore. You have your books on your Kindle account or whatever, and so if you had a bookshelf before, it's just like frozen in time of how it was before smartphones became a thing, basically. So I kind of had a phase where I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy all of my favorite books in like nice hardback editions and display them, so they'd be like decorations. And so I did that for a little while, and I was like, this is stupid. I'm spending a bunch of money for books I've already read just to display them, because I think they look cool. That's dumb. So we got the Hunger Games series, Looking for Alaska, Redwall. I was really into these books in, like, middle school. These are, like, my only two actual, for reals, adult books in this entire shelf. We've got I Am Legend by Richard Matheson, which is really good, and The Martian, which is like one of my favorite books and movies ever. Both very good. And coming down here, we're back to kids stuff. We've got Chris Wooding. I don't think is a very well-known author, but he wrote this series. It's like a kids series that I was into back in the day, called Broken Sky, and it's like anime themed. It's like a fantasy, but it's not the usual fantasy stuff. It's very Asian inspired, and just like totally imaginative. Like he didn't use elves and orcs and all of that. And then this is an adult series that he wrote that is really good. Also a fantasy, also very Asian inspired. It's called the Braided Path series, I think. But I bought it as 3 separate books. It's The Weavers of Saramir and the 2 sequels. It's very good. These are, I don't know if you've heard of them. It's a book about like this wizard kid who goes to school. It's pretty weird. Starts off really slow and childish, but by the end it gets pretty intense. It's kind of crazy. I think I'm missing a few of them. I think my sister has borrowed some of those and never read them or returned them. I made this thing in high school, I think. It's supposed to look like leather. I kind of like it. Then we've got the beginnings of the Animorphs. These are the Animorphs special, like, all the special ones. The Megamorphs and the Choose Your Own Adventures, and the Hork-Bajir Chronicles, and the Visser. Oh, that one's just called Visser. Look at that. Look at that, it's all shiny. I got the shiny ones. I think this one might be my favorite Animorphs book. It went totally weird and got into like deep lore. Okay, anyway, now down here we've got the Animorph shelf where I just have all of them just proudly displayed. I guess these are the Choose Your Own Adventures. I don't know what those are doing down here. There they are. I suspect if I tried to read any of them now, I would be like, oh, this is pretty dumb. But they, you know, it's just a huge part of my childhood, and well into the teenage years I was still reading these. So, you gotta keep them. I couldn't just part with them. And down here we have where your books usually are, but I took them out because I don't want you to know where I went to school. And another thing I made, that was not too bad. That's not bad. I did not make this, but it's pretty cool. It's one of those, like, you touch them and the lasers happen and things. And then here's the nonfiction. Here's the nonfiction and graphic novels. My nonfiction section consists of a Bible, which, yeah, definitely can tell how often I read that these days. The Magic Eye 2 book, very nice. This used to be like a huge thing in the 90s. Like, you do this thing where you cross your eyes. Can you do it? I don't know if you can do it on this screen. Can you do it? Like, cross your eyes and make a picture? It was pretty awesome. Miniature Schnauzers, gotta love it. And all of my graphic novels are just Firefly and Buffy related things. But this one's really cool. Frey, it's like a future Slayer. It's pretty nice. And that is it. That's my whole bookshelf. Pretty, you know, grown up and studious, scholarly even, I would say. Yeah, that's that.